Alright, this is going to be my lesson 7 3 through 6 walkthrough. It's going to just be going over how to get that mean and standard deviation, and then 7 through 10 will be more applications. So I had mean and standard deviation. I have mean and standard deviation there because we're always going to need our mean to find our standard deviation. So we'll always calculate our mean first if we do not have it already. So Brent is spending some money during his school week. Looks like he's spending $8, $20, $15, $2, and $10 each day, and he is spending for 5 days. So let's add that up. 28, 27. So 55 over 5 means he is spending a nice $11 a day. That is our mean. Now we're going to find our standard deviation. So let's think about how we're going to do that. We're going to take each term and subtract it by the mean. So 8 minus 11, and then we're going to do the power of 2. Then we're going to do that for each term. So you can even build it out if you want, since we know we've got 5 terms, and we know we're going to divide by that also. So what's our next term? 20 minus 11, then we got 15 minus 11, 2 minus 11, and 10 minus 11. So this is going to give us a 3, 9, 4, negative 9, negative 1. So let's just square those out. And that's going to give me 9 plus 81 plus 16 plus 81 plus 1, still divided by 5. And remember, this is going to give us our variance. So what's that? 162 plus 25, 187, 188 over 5. If my mental math's wrong, please fix it. And then how many times does that go in? Looks like I'm going to do it over here. 37.6 is our variance. And then what's that last step? How do we find standard deviation? Is we are going to take the square root of that 37.6, and that's going to be our standard deviation. So what's that going to make? It is going to make 6.13. So 6.13 is our standard deviation. I'm going to write it over here. And our mean was 11. Alright, let's look at number 4. Is this number 4? I think this is number 4. So now we're just going to find our standard deviation for the last 3 days of Brent's week. So once again, those last 3 days were 15, 2, and 10. So a little bit smaller data set, but just practice, right? We're just practicing finding the average, practicing average, adding everything up and dividing by the number of terms. So now only 3 days. So we get a nice $9 here. Oh yeah, a nice $9 without a blob there. Free eraser is pretty nice. And then we've got to find our standard deviation. So let's find our variance first. And how do we do that? We're gonna subtract by the mean and take to the power of 2 over and over again. And we're gonna subtract each of our terms. So we're gonna subtract 15, then we're gonna subtract 2, and then we're gonna subtract 10. Gives us a nice 6 to the power of 2, and a negative 7 to the power of 2, and a 1 to the power of 2. And remember, we're also going to divide by the number of terms, which is 3. So same thing here. Oops. Thanks, undo. Divide by 3. Let's add them up. That's 36 plus 49 plus 1. So we get an 86 divided by 3, and that looks to be a number. So our variance is, what was it, 27.3? 28. 28.6. Great, good job, Chin. 28.66 or 67. Then we're gonna find our standard deviation always. So what's that last part we're always gonna do? We're gonna take the square root of the variance, and it'll give us our standard deviation. So square root of 28.67. And we get a nice 5.35. So the average around like distance that numbers are apart is about 5-ish. Overall-ish. It's just a measure of deviation. Alright, let's continue the practice and go to number 5. So Conan is tracking his scoring in basketball, and we're going to do that same thing. We're going to find the mean, we're going to find the standard deviation, and we're going to clap, 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 clap our hands. So we're going to add them up. So we got 16, we got a 43 here, makes 59, so we got 75, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. It's going to be 15 points per game. So that is our average. Now we're going to find our variance by building out to subtract our mean from each term. So we're subtracting our mean from each term once again. You're going to be like, are you kidding me? It's this much work? Yeah, it is. It is, just to get this statistic. So we've got a 6 minus a 15, a 10 minus a 15, 23 minus 15, 20, and 16. And we're dividing it all by his 5 games. So what we got a negative 9 squared, and a 5 squared, negative, and an 8 squared. Remember, the signs don't matter for that because we are going to take it to the power of 2, and it'll become positive no matter what. But either way, it's nice to write it correctly and precisely. So I'm going to square everything out, and then we're going to add those up. So I'm just going to go ahead and sum it up on a calculator. And get 196. Divide that out by 5 still. And we get our variance is 39.2. So our variance is 39.2. And then what's that last thing we're always going to do? Take the square root of it. Oopsies. To get our standard deviation, which is 6.26. So don't forget that last step to take that square root. Alright, last one. Same exact steps, but it's just repetition and practice at this point. So we've got our population, and you know, I give you round numbers for a reason, so it simplifies a little bit. So we're going to add up our 4 students, 15 and 13 and 20 and 16, divide it by the number of students, which is 4. Even though it's a class of 30, it's just, we're just looking at 4 tests or quizzes. 28 plus 36, 64 divided by 4 gives us an average of 16. And then we're going to move on to the variance by subtracting that 16 from each of those scores and squaring it to get this measure of squared spread, dividing by the number of terms, which is 4. So 15, 13, 20, and 16. So it looks like we've got a negative 1 squared, negative 3 squared, 4 squared, and a 0 squared. That's going to go away. So we get a 1 plus 9 plus 16, which is 26 divided by 4. So that's just 6.5 is our variance. And what's that last step we're going to always do? I hope he said square root, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the square root of this to get my standard deviation. And I'm going to pump over to my calculator to take a square root that I can't take with my mortal human brain and get 2.55. Alright. So that's 3 through 6. Just straight up to walk through. I'm going to do another video through 7 through 10 coming up.